In this topic, chapter 5, we call it cost of capital, or we call it WACC, weighted average cost of capital. It's normal to say WACC. We're going to learn how to calculate that WACC. The WACC is a discount rate used in investment appraisal. So when you see the term cost of capital for NPV questions, it is this WACC. So we're going to learn how to compute the WACC. Now in chapter 4, you had sources of finance. You had equity, preference shares, and types of debt. Who provides this finance to the company? We call them investors. And investors require a return, in the green word, yeah? They require a return. Shareholders require dividends, and creditors require interest to be paid to them on time. What is a return to an investor becomes the cost for a company. So we call it KE means cost of equity, KP means cost of preference shares, and KD is cost of debt. The KE, the KP, and the KD are not the same because of the creditor hierarchy. This is a creditor hierarchy. Who has the highest risk or the lowest risk in a company when it comes to getting their money back? The higher the risk, the higher the returns expected, and vice versa. So shareholders are the investors who will always be paid last. In an orderly liquidation, shareholders are paid last. They may not even get anything in a liquidation. Creditors are paid first. Secured creditors are paid first, followed by unsecured creditors. Secured means when you borrow money, you need to give security, right? Security is usually in the form of a fixed charge or a floating charge. So those creditors get paid first, followed by unsecured creditors, then payables, then preference shareholders who get fixed dividends, and finally, the ordinary shareholders. So the cost of equity is usually higher than the cost of debt, than the cost of preference shares. Okay? So we will start off today by learning how to compute the individual cost of finance, which is KE, KP, and KD. All good? Silence means yes. Now we look at cost of equity. Now the cost of equity there are two models to compute KE. Today we are going to learn the dividend valuation model. You can see in the heading there, DVM, yeah, dividend valuation model. Tomorrow we will learn CAPEP. Under the dividend model, we have two variations. There are constant dividends paid to your shareholders, or the dividends are growing every year, so we have a growth model. So is it a constant dividend model or a growth model? That's how the question will be asked. Most questions, it's only a growth model. Yeah, constant dividends is not cool. Not cool to get constant dividends every year forever. Anyway, for theory purposes, that's our starting point. Your formula for discounting. The present value here is your share price, PO. The share price is determined by the dividends paid to your investors. The future value is the dividends. Every year I pay 50 cents dividend forever. Forever. 1 over R, perpetuity. So we can write this formula as D over R. And we can change the R return to KE because we're looking at shareholders' returns. So cost of equity is also known as shareholders' returns. That's the first formula you see there in the first box, the constant dividend model. But dividends cannot be constant, otherwise you'll be unable to attract investors. So we have a growth model. This is called the growth model. The PO is your share price. Dividends, DO, why call it DO? Because it's this year's dividend. I'm paying you 50 cents this year. Next year, it will grow by 2%. And it will grow by 2% forever. So it's perpetuity again. In the exam, this formula is given. So I'm going to write here, this is an exam formula. But I want to rearrange this formula to calculate cost of equity. So looking at that formula, can I write like this? KE minus G is equal to Is it okay? So what is KE? The formula is already given. I'm just trying to show you how it came about. And the meaning of this formula is KE stands for shareholders' returns. Dividend over PO is dividend yield. You buy a share for 1 ringgit, you got a dividend of 50 cents, means you got a 50% return. So we call it a dividend yield. Anything that you divide by PO is called a yield. Returns divided by investment. Plus, this represents a dividend growth. So that's the meaning of that formula.